Welcome to the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. This is the playoff picture in the AFC. If Pittsburgh wins or ties tonight, they are the Central Division champions. If they lose, they're out of the playoffs, and Cincinnati wins the division. If Houston wins, the Oilers earn the final wild card berth. If they lose, their season is over, and Seattle becomes the wild card. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick, and it's great to have you with us tonight in Houston. Warren Moon is out for the Oilers. That means Cody Carlson is in. And when other teams have lost their starting quarterbacks, they have become more conservative on offense, trying to protect the backup. Houston won't do that. Because of the run and shoot, they can't. As always, it's my pleasure to be working with Joe Theismann. And Joe, Cody Carlson may run and shoot tonight, but he can't hide.
You're absolutely right, Mike. What happens with Cody Carlson is they don't hide behind a running game because they don't feature it. They can't hide behind tight ends because they don't have any. But one thing you don't have to worry about if you're an Oiler fan, Cody Carlson has worked out about a third of the time during the season, so he is familiar with the offense. They aren't going to change it, so the players around him will be familiar with the offense. It's very important for Cody tonight to come out and be patient and also count on his receivers not to drop the football because they're going up against the #1 defense in the NFL, and the Steelers have only given up 6 touchdown passes all year.
It's an incredible statistic. They have been marvelous all year. The question is, which Pittsburgh offense is going to show up? The one that doesn't score any touchdowns or the one that gets them in bunches?
Well, you can bet the Steelers hope it's not the one that showed up the first time this team played. They gave up 123 yards of total offense. That's all they got. 55 yards passing, 9 completions. But the Oilers are going to put 8 people near the line of scrimmage. They do not want Pittsburgh to run with the football. They're going to challenge Bubby Brister and say, Bubby, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to do it throwing. And you know something? Bubby Brister wouldn't want it any other way. He told me yesterday, he said, Joe, if we win, it's going to be because I play well.
It's our pleasure to have Gary Danielson working with us tonight. And Gary, unfortunately for Houston, the injury list does not stop at Warren Moon.
Oh, you're right, Mike, and I'm really excited to be here. Even with a healthy Warren Moon, the Oilers would be in a little trouble. Leading tackler and middle linebacker Al Smith is out with a dislocated thumb. Strong safety Bubba McDowell is going to give it a try, but he's got a knee that's been bothering him. On offense, Lorenzo White has some problems pass blocking because of a sore arm. And how about this? At right guard, Bruce Matthews is going to go to center. Big problems for the Oilers. Mike?
Thank you, Gary. Pittsburgh kicking off. Anderson kicking to Ford and McNeil. The ice cube across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. And now for tonight's die-hard starting lineup. Cody Carlson is the Oilers quarterback in place of Warren Moon. This is only the 6th start of his career. This season he has thrown a total of 26 passes. Drew Hill is one of their 2 Pro Bowl receivers. He needs 3 catches for a career high and 5 yards for 1,000. Bruce Matthews, the Pro Bowl starter at guard, he moved to center tonight, as Gary said, replacing Jay Pennison, who had trouble in the first game against the Steelers. Carlson guns his first one complete. He's got a first down and more. Duncan made the grab. On defense for the Steelers, #1 in the NFL, no one dominant up front. Keith Willis has used his quickness to become the 3rd all-time sacker on the Steelers list. David Little finally made the Pro Bowl after 10 years in the league. He thought he had a better season last year. And Rod Woodson will start at corner in the Pro Bowl. He made it a year ago, but that was as a kick return man. Houston ball, its own 42. And you can tell the offense has not changed one bit again to Curtis Duncan. Warren Moon on the sideline. He came so close to breaking all the single-season records. You have to feel so badly for him. He's such a great guy and had such a brilliant season until he was injured a week ago. And there is the soft cast on the thumb. He had to have surgery after it was dislocated to clean it out. He hopes the Oilers will make the playoffs and stay in them long enough so he can get back. 2nd and 5. Carlson hits his first 2. Early movement. And it looked like Doug Dawson, the guard.
Before the play, number 63, false start. Still second down.
No matter what happens, Mike, whenever you make a quarterback change during the course of a week, you always get into cadence problems because they're so used, for 15 weeks, they're so used to listening to Warren Moon. Then all of a sudden you get a change and somebody's going to jump off sides.
Dawson is in at one guard. Munchak remains 63 at the other guard. Henderson is out. Matthews moves over to center.
Cody had a real good work during this week. Felt very confident. Warren stayed away. Let him focus on the job that he had to do.
Delay to White. This is the featured play in the run and shoot in the ground game. It's another first down at the Steeler 45, and Larry Griffin, the safety, had to make the tackle after a gain of 13.
This was the one thing that the Oilers wanted to do, is they're going to need somebody to control the nose guard. In this case, Bruce Matthews does an excellent job on Williams up the middle. You see him take him one way, and Lorenzo White's going to cut back the other. That is what they felt like they were missing in the first game that these teams played.
Williams ate him up in the first meeting. White again, gaping hole up the middle. He's down to the Pittsburgh 33-yard line. Another first down after a gain of 12. Keith Willis, the defensive end, had to make the tackle.
While Houston drives their point home, here's Bruce Matthews driving his. This is a change for him. He hasn't played center much, but he likes the fact that at a center, when you have a nose man over you, you get the contact right away. It's a little bit different at guard because you have to reach for people. Here he says you don't have to look very far.
They say Matthews versatile enough to play any spot on the line. Certainly he's gotten off to a great start at center tonight. Carlson had Givens wide open. Instead comes back to Drew Hill. He's driven out of bounds to the 27-yard line. Joe, when a new quarterback comes in, and Carlson has been the backup here for a long time, you would like to get him a couple of easy plays to get him started. You can't do that in the run and shoot.
You can't. You have to have somebody just come out and throw the football. Here he comes out to the right, looks back, totally, completely composed, comes all the way back to the other side of the field to Drew Hill. He understands this offense very well. He's a guy out to prove a point.
Drew Hill, number one in the AFC in yards, has now gone over 1,000, and Chuck Knoll is watching his number one rated defense get chewed up early. Carlson hasn't had any pressure on him. What a play by Keith Willis. He saw Lorenzo White coming out of the backfield and shadowed him. And then when Carlson had no more room to run, he went in and made the tackle.
They wanted to run that little dump screen that we've seen out of the run and shoot. But what happens now is Pittsburgh decided to bring up a lot more people right around the line of scrimmage. They said, okay, you've been running. We've only had 4 up here to defend the pass. Now we're going to bring up more people to stop the run. It also stops the screen. Anything that's around the line of scrimmage, when you've got more people than they have to block it, obviously is going to work to your advantage.
Jack Pardee had hoped that Cody Carlson would play this way. He said he had confidence in the young man out of Baylor. So far it has been justified. Now he faces 3rd and 11. Carlson with time. Throw sideline complete. First down. Duncan again.
What a job by Curtis Duncan. You talk about hanging on the sidelines. He plants his feet. And Cody Carlson, of course, he's got to be excited and jacked up a little bit. Watch where this ball winds up. That ball's 2 feet out of bounds. Look at him keep the rhythm.
And they go to the hurry up, and the officials will stop the clock.
And I'll tell you what they're going to look at here.
Whether he was in?
Yeah, well, you see, the thing is, the truth is, he only had 1 foot in. We take a look at that again. You're going to see that only 1 foot is inbound. Watch his right foot. His left foot is down. Okay, see how his right foot's up in the air? See that? See how the right foot's up in the air? That's not a catch. He only had 1 foot inbounds. The defensive player's momentum did not knock him out of bounds, so it's his impetus to stay inbound. See the right foot? See that right foot? That's why he only had 1 foot inbound.
Well, you're good.
It's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
There it is. Obviously, he would not have been tall enough if he'd been able to keep that right foot down, and he would have missed it anyway.
We're like Raymond Berry with legs 2 different lengths. He could have done that.
Hey, I know
you could do that.
I know about legs with 2 different legs, too.
So the coaches will have to wait and see what the replay booth says about this.
We have a reversal. It's an incomplete pass.
Heck of a catch, though.
And not a bad throw
Heck
either.
of a catch, yeah.
George Slatke, the replay official, makes the call from upstairs. Well, Carlson has been impressive so far.
And, you know, really, Mike, I wouldn't expect him to be anything else. He's been around this offense. One thing great about being a quarterback in this offense is you know it's not going to change. So you have a sense of confidence to know that nobody's going to pull anything back. They expect you to do the job, so you just have to go out and do it.
Teddy Garcia, who was signed when Tony Zendejas broke his leg, will come on to try his longest field goal of the year, and he snap-hooked it badly to the left. A 50-yard attempt and a fight after the play. You can bet there will be a lot of emotion involved in this one. So a good drive by the Oilers comes up empty. We're scoreless first quarter. ESPN Sunday Night NFL is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, simply phone your nearest BMW dealer. By Bud Light, everything else is just a light. And by ITT Hartford. When you need us most, we're at our best. We're back at the Astrodome in Houston, where the Steelers and the Oilers are fighting for a playoff spot. And the Steelers take over at their own 33-yard line after a missed 50-yard field goal attempt.
This is important for the Steelers to come out and try and take the crowd out of this game as soon as possible, because this place gets rocked.
Hodge and Worley are the running backs. Worley. Drilled, loose ball. Oilers. It looked like Lamar Lathan knocked it loose and John Grimsley recovered.
Both of them playing in new positions tonight. Grimsley's moved inside for Al Smith. Lamar Lathan gets his chance to start. Pursuit all the way across the field. Big hit. Big hit by Lamar Lathan. He wanted a chance to play. He wants a chance to prove that he's worth the #1 they spent on him.
Whoa, what a shot. Woo. If he's going to hit like that while he's out there, he's worth 2 #1s. White on the delay. Another outstanding run to the 31-yard line. The tackle made by the right end, Donald Evans, chasing the play from behind. Boy, running backs have to love this run and shoot. When they get the ball, there are a lot of lanes for them.
A lot of opportunities. I mean, you really place a tremendous burden. And Pittsburgh's decided to start with the 30 front, so the ends have to come up outside to try and contain the quarterback. The linebackers have to drop back and defend against the pass. So you actually have about 5 or 6 yards where nobody can touch it.
White, 3 carries, 30 yards. Carlson tries to throw the quick hitch, and Evans got up to knock it down. And if that ball gets by the line of scrimmage, Curtis Duncan is nowhere near it. He went deep, and they were throwing short.
It's again, you have to understand the concept of the run and shoot. The receivers and the quarterbacks read. You see Carlson come out, look downfield. He's just turning and throwing to a spot. Curtis Duncan reads it different. This is the biggest problem, I think, with the run and shoot, is you got to cut down the end so they can't get their hands in the air and knock the ball up for possible interception.
3rd and 4. Carlson has hit 3 of 5 so far. 4-man rush and time. Jeffries at the 21. It's another Houston first down. Boy, Carlson has been very impressive.
Wouldn't expect anything else from him because all year he's had a chance to stay in the system. He understands it very well. This is a little bit of a new wrinkle out of the run and shoot. Normally, you don't expect the outside guys to run the drags and the delays underneath. They're basically there for clearing, and the inside guys do all the little natty kind of moves, like a gnat you can't get rid of.
It would be an incredible lift for the Oilers to score here. The Steelers' defense has not given up a touchdown in 14 quarters. They haven't given up a touchdown pass in 15. Carlson with plenty of time. Throws short, complete again. This time he hits Tony Jones. Normally, the rookie is going on deep patterns because he has 4.2 speed. He can fly.
And Ernest Gibbons said about Tony Jones earlier this year, he said, before he's done here, he's probably going to be the best receiver in Houston Oiler history. So there's one guy talking about another.
He's the smallest player in the NFL at 5'7", 139 pounds.
I hope so. I wouldn't think there's anybody smaller.
2nd and 3. White, first down and more inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line. Hardy Nickerson made the tackle along with safety Thomas Everett.
There it is, just attacking the 34 right up the middle. That's Bruce Matthews, number 74, doing a job on Gerald Williams. It was a move that Bob Young and Jack Pardee decided to make. Young, the offensive line coach, he said, you don't like to do it after 15 weeks, but I got to deal with either a personality problem or winning a football game.
1st and goal from the 7. Scoreless first quarter. The playoffs on the line for both clubs. Carlson has another one batted down and nearly picked off at the line of scrimmage. He had David Little right in his face, along with the nose man, Gerald Williams.
Dave Brazil, the offensive coordinator, signaling in, the defensive coordinator, signaling in the defensive signals. I had a chance to visit with him yesterday, and he said, you know, the one thing I do not want that Houston offense to do is take the ball and shove it down our throat and run it up and down the field.
Well, even with Warren Moon very early in the season, they weren't able to do anything with this Pittsburgh defense. 2nd and goal. White. Everett came up, cut his ankles out from under him at the 4. And Brian Hinkle made sure he didn't go anywhere.
Pittsburgh defense has a philosophy, too. The philosophy is we're not going to give up the big play. We're not going to gamble. We're not going to give up the big play. You can run the ball a little bit. You can throw the underneath passes. What we're going to do is we are going to punish the people that are carrying the ball.
Of course, the Steelers, you've often heard that saying, it's a bend, don't break defense. These guys don't even bend.
They don't. Kevin McBride, the offensive coordinator of the Houston Run. I think you got to throw the football here. You know, you're going to get matchups one-on-one. It's up to the receivers to beat people.
3rd and goal from the 4. Looks toward Hill. He's got it. Marked at the 1-foot line. Drew Hill went in motion, and Carlson followed him all the way.
Hill on the reception.
Big hit. Big hit to keep him out of the end zone. Cody Carlson comes out to the left, makes a good throw. Now the question is, does the ball cross the line? I'll tell you, that's a heck of a call by the official.
And a great play by Carnell Lake.
That ball, we saw it coming right at us. That ball is not in the end zone.
Carlson is pointing up toward one of the screens here in Houston, saying, look at the replay, and the crowd reacted to it. Obviously, with a perfect angle that we had on it, he did not get in. And if Carnell Lake had tried to make a tackle, he would have. Instead, he pushed him out of bounds. 4th and goal. And the play is being reviewed, so they'll stop it.
While they look at it, we'll look at it. Now watch, remember, the plane of the ball has to break that goal line. Consider it a glass plane. What the fans are reacting to is his foot, and that doesn't fly. It's got to be the football breaking the plane of the goal line. You see the officials in great position.
Boy, sure is. And a couple of great camera angles on it, too.
Thomas Everett. See, the foot makes it. Unfortunately, that doesn't count. Great slide, though. One more look.
Of course, he also hit the cone, and people react to that, too, the marker at the goal line. But as you said, it's the football. It clearly...
Got to get that ball to hit the cone. The ball hits the cone, you got yourself 6. If your foot hits it, you might have something. So far, the Houston fans have not been real thrilled with instant replay.
They'll like it even less after this call. Jack Pardee has coached everywhere and has been the coach of the year everywhere he's coached.
It was really the man that gave me a chance in Washington when he took over in 1978. This actually works out to the benefit of the Houston Oilers, because when Cody got him in the huddle, just before they stopped it here, you could see the disgust on the sidelines of the Houston coaches. They wanted to make some personnel changes. And now they have a chance to talk it over and really get a play that they like.
The reason this is taking so long, they are having a communications problem with the field. As we showed you these replays, it's obvious that what the call should be. They just had a problem with their communications gear.
After review of instant replay, the ball never broke the plane of the goal line. It's 4th down.
It's an excellent call. Alan Pinkett, number 20, will check into the lineup. 4th and goal. Pinkett is on a wing. White to setback. White. Flag is down. It's a touchdown. If it stands, the first touchdown in 15 quarters against this defense.
Penalty decline. Touchdown.
What a boost for the Oilers.
And that's Houston's version of the big back offense, putting Alan Pinkett. Pinkett off on the wing. You see, just offside. Lorenzo White managing to squeeze into the end zone. Again, running right behind Bruce Matthews.
Garcia for the point after. Very difficult to block one of Garcia's kicks. He gets it up in a hurry. 7-0 Oilers. A playoff atmosphere in the Astrodome, and why not? Both teams fighting to get in. The Oilers leading. And there's David Fulcher in Cincinnati. I don't know where David found an Oilers cap, but he's got one. And David, it's Mike Patrick along with Joe Theismann. You must have been thrilled to see them score.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think the team is excited, and I'm glad that they scored. And I think the Buys will be happy. When this game's over, I'll be taking this hat off and probably tearing it up.
David, what were you thinking last week when Warren Moon was hurt? That's the last thing you guys wanted.
Well, I was kind of surprised to have see Warren still in the ballgame, but you know, that's just what happens.
All right, we'll be checking back in with you again. Here's Rod Woodson. Flag is down. We'll have a block in the back, and the Steelers will have to start from inside their 10-yard line. Woodson, one of the most dangerous kick return men around.
Illegal block from behind, number 99 of the return team. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down.
Nose man Gerald Williams called. Walter Andrew Brister III. Bubby having his best season as the Steelers quarterback. 4 touchdown passes in the game, 3 times this year, 20 for the season. Pittsburgh prefers to run, and Merrill Hodge will get a lot of chances tonight. He already has a career-high 735 yards. The best player up front, Punch Ilkin, the 2-time Pro Bowler, had been on injured reserve with an elbow injury. And the crowd is into it. Brister, play action. Nice job by Bubby Brister, taken out of bounds by Chris Dishman. On that Houston defense, Ray Childress was voted to the Pro Bowl. He has 80 tackles as a down lineman and 7 sacks. John Grimsley moves into the middle because of Al Smith's injury. He knows the inside. He played there when they ran the 3-4 here. The secondary has been very opportunistic. Richard Johnson has 7 interceptions. That is tied for second in the National Football League. Gain of 8 for Brister on that rollout. 2nd and 2. Worley. Looks like he has the first down, cut down by William Fuller, the left defensive end.
And a great opportunity for Worley to get the football because he needed it after he fumbled the first time. Now he picked up the first down and managed to pick it up. There's Frances Brister, Bubby's mom. You don't think she's nervous? We only have like 3.5 quarters to go here. Oh, boy, I tell you, nothing like a mom. I remember when my mom played. It just absolutely, you know, my dad would sit there and say, that's my son. My mother would be, oh, no, don't hit him.
Brister with time. Throws over the middle to Green. The enormous tight end dragging people with him to the 44-yard line. Eric Green out of Liberty gains 24. Terry Kennard had to bring him down. And the middle is going to be the place to attack this Houston defense with their injury.
Well, they have been, but I think with Grimsley inside, it's not as vulnerable as it was last week. The release of Eric Green up the field, he's actually a check down, what they refer to in the Pittsburgh offense as a check down. He's the 2nd or 3rd receiver for Brister, but watch what he does here with his hands after he catches the ball. Hangs on it. Now watch the straight arm. The big straight arm on Kennard just to push him away.
He's 6'5", 274. And leads the NFL tight ends in touchdown catches. Worley trying to get outside. No chance, and once again it was Fuller. You know, with a run and shoot, the Houston defense gets overlooked. They've got some good players on this defense.
They really do. And last week was one of those games that teams have with so much rushing. They've been very strong against the run. They've done an excellent job all year. And you're right, they've got some stars. Ray Childress, of course, won. Sean Jones coming over, now finally coming into his own and getting the recognition he deserves. He's not playing in anybody's shadow anymore.
As you see the time of possession, the Steelers would just like to hang on to the ball for a while. Worley goes out as a flanker. And Hodge gets the carry to the 45, maybe the 46-yard line. And it was John Grimsley and Lamar Lathan along with Ezra Johnson on the tackle.
When you commit to the 4-3 defense, that means the guys up front have got to get penetration. The linebackers have to flow and make plays. You saw Lamar Lathan slide to the right, fight off a block, and make the play.
Well, they've gotten a lot of, there's Lathan, the rookie draft choice. Held out all of training camp, a familiar story. Really didn't get any kind of repetitions. Had an injury as his senior year, was a Prop 48 player at Houston, so he didn't get that much action. Dwight Stone is into the Pittsburgh offense on 3rd and 8. Brister flush. Throws on the run and completes it to Green at midfield, but that will be shy of a first down. Johnny Meads out there on coverage, and they'll force a punt. Straczynski is on to punt. He has the next to lowest average in the NFL, but they don't run many back on him. And Gerald McNeil, the Ice Cube, who is just itching to bust one. He has not had a good return year.
Now the Cube has, I think he's averaged about 5 yards, which is way below his average. And of course, with a situation like this, you either figure it's going to go in the end zone or you're going to be forced to fair catch it back up.
But he thinks he's due. Low snap. Straczynski does a good job and a nice high punt. McNeil lets it go at the last moment, and it takes a good kick for the Oilers and goes into the end zone. No return on a punt of 50 yards. Cody Carlson will come back on the field, leading 7-0. And the people of Jacksonville will be pumped up for that one. Go out to the Gator Bowl on Tuesday morning.
Yeah, you and I did that a couple of years ago.
Yes, we did. It was fun.
Yeah.
Great city.
Got college atmosphere here tonight.
Boy, don't we ever. Oilers take over at their own 20, leading 7-0. And Cody Carlson has been proof so far what the Oilers have said all week. He'll do just fine. He's done more than fine. White. Got maybe 6 yards. Got a good block up front. One of the guys blocking for him. Doug Dawson, number 66, and is quite a story. Playing for the Cardinals in '86. Tore up an Achilles heel, was out of football until this year. Last year, he said he went to a luncheon and heard Joe Theismann speak about how much football meant to him, the love of the game, his teammates. Decided to give it another shot. Here he is again. He was inspired by you.
I'm glad he got back in. I would have liked to, but I'm glad he got back in.
Well, you need to go listen to someone else. White needs to get to the 30 for the first down, doesn't make it to the 29, and Craig Vesey, backup noseman, made the stop. So it will be 3rd and 1. And that is the end of the first quarter here at the Astrodome. The Oilers on top of the Steelers, 7-0. Starting the second quarter in the Astrodome with Houston leading Pittsburgh 7-0. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann and Gary Danielson with you. And that's Joe Kane of the Seattle Seahawks watching this game live, rooting for the Steelers. Joe, linebackers are an endangered species out there, aren't they?
Yeah, it's been a rough season. You know, we've had a lot of guys injured. I think 7 altogether.
All right, so, Joe, I know you'll be watching this game and you're rooting for the Steelers. We'll check back with you from time to time. Houston takes over, 3rd and 1. Steelers jumped offside again, and White belted as he got to the 30. We'll check the flag. It looked like the Steelers jumped, but Dwayne Woodruff is signaling that the Oilers drew them.
See, your cadence gets your team off early, and then once they learn it, you can draw the deal.
Offside, number 98 defense, 5 yards, first down.
Gerald Williams, the nose man.
Defensive, this everybody says, how can a nose guy be offsides? Because he's got the ball right in front of him. It's real quick. They're not necessarily watching the ball. They're listening and hearing. Any sudden quick movement or noise sets these people right off. Used to love to do it. Best I ever saw in the business was Bob Greasy. Never moved his head. Never. You couldn't tell if he was talking. His body never moved. He'd go, and all of a sudden everybody jump offside. 1st and 10 Oilers. And they are dominating this game in rushing statistics as well as throwing. Comes the reverse. Givens. A lot of room to the Steelers' 35-yard line. Dwayne Woodruff had to bring him down. A gain of 39, and David Williams threw him a great block. You know, you talk about play action. In this case, what happens is Pittsburgh now has become so conscious of the run. Look at the flow of the defensive line and linebackers to the right. Here comes Ernest Givens. You can't find a Steeler in the picture.
Givens had only rushed the ball one other time this year. He gained 21 on that one. It's a seldom used but very good play. And he and Drew Hill will be going to the Pro Bowl together. They have mixed up the plays beautifully in the run and shoot tonight. Whistle, and I don't think they beat the play clock. First mistake Carlson's made.
Well, you know, and it's not his fault. When we sat and visited with Jack Pardee yesterday, he said, obviously, the Houston Oilers are the most penalized team in football. This was something they wanted to work on. But what happened is, he said, what's been disappointing is, oddly enough, their personal fouls are down. Jack's happy about that. But the biggest penalty they get is delay of game, because the quarterback has to stand at the line of scrimmage, read the defense, and audibilize, and that just takes a little bit too long.
There is the penalty story, and 2 tonight. The 25-second clock rule change has not been good for the Oilers, obviously. Carlson, little half roll to the left, goes to Jeffrey. Woodson drags him out of bounds. Of course, we want to remind you that game day will continue through the playoffs and the Super Bowl next Saturday at 11:30. Chris and the gang will preview the wild card games. Then they'll be back at 7:30 that night on prime time to review all the highlights. On Sunday, game day at noon Eastern, day 2 of the wild card playoffs, and prime time at 7:30 for the complete wrap-up. Axe quoted country songwriter and singer Tom T. Hall today. And anybody that writes a song called Fried Bologna, Eggs, and Gravy is all right in my book. 2nd and 6, Houston. Blitz knocked away. Steelers, for the 3rd time, have batted a ball down at the line of scrimmage. And it was Donald Evans, the right end, getting up to do it.
Well, you just know that the quarterback is not going to be more than 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's the concept of the run and shoot. So why not? If you can't get penetration, take a step forward. It means you're 2 yards from them. You put your hands up, you're at least 7 feet tall. It gives you the advantage.
That was one of Mike Ditka's comments to us, that he thought that this was a liability of the run and shoot, that they would have a lot of balls batted down.
Certainly has been tonight.
Numbers on Carlson. He faces 3rd and 6. Four-man rush. Carlson with quite an arm, and Givens has it at the 15. What a throw by Carlson, and what a catch by Givens. Gain of 16 yards.
This is a total contrast from the first time these two teams played. The Oiler receivers dropped anywhere between 10 and 14 passes the last time these two teams played. Now watch this catch Ernest Givens make. Now watch this. He's going to put his arm up. What he's telling Cody is, it's a zone. It's a zone. Now I'm going to turn. You throw it somewhere. What a catch. What a catch. That's all that arm in the air means, is he's reading the defense with the quarterback.
Givens in his 5th year. He used to disappear early if he didn't get the ball. He's matured an awful lot. White just trying to slide for a yard. Keith Willis again closed down from that defensive end spot in a hurry. And Greg Lloyd was also in there. Of course, this is a paradise as you look at the Steelers on the sideline. A paradise for wide receivers. Every one of these guys just absolutely loves it.
Yeah, it's a nightmare for tight ends. There aren't any.
Yeah, they're on other teams.
If you're in college right now and the Houston Oilers draft you as a tight end, rest assured you will not be one.
2nd and 9, 11:25 to go and counting, first half. It has been all Houston. Carlson throws late. Touchdown, Givens. Givens now has 300 catches in his pro career.
Boy, you can just call this Ernest Givens series. You start with the reverse, you make a great catch on 3rd down, now you get open in the end zone while Cody Carlson's scrambling around, and you do a lousy job of spiking the ball, but you put the electric slide on.
Teddy Garcia for the point after. Got it through, there's a flag down. Garcia got an early start. He moved, and they'll penalize him 5 yards. I'll tell you what's amazing, this defense had not given up a touchdown in 14 quarters. You're playing with a backup quarterback, all the pressure in the world on you, and they've got 2 in this half.
Illegal motion on the kicker. He's moving forward at the snap. 5 yards, retry.
The big thing there, Mike, is that what Pittsburgh is allowing Houston to do is, number 1, control the line of scrimmage. And number 2, the move to put Bruce Matthews at nose on center to handle the nose tackle so that they can run the football has made all the difference in the way Pittsburgh's had to play defense. And that man, Dave Brazil, is now starting to look at the card and he's got to come up with a few other ones out of the deck.
Move it back 5 yards. Garcia converts anyway. Ernest Givens out of Louisville gives this team a 14-0 lead. They're getting ready to party in Cincinnati as Houston leads Pittsburgh 14-0. The Bengals, of course, want to win the division championship, and they can tonight if they get some help. This is James Brooks. What do you think of Cody Carlson so far? James,
I didn't hear you.
What do you think of Cody Carlson so far?
Tell you what, they're looking good over there. I mean, if they keep going on, we'll be all right.
James, congratulations on going over 1,000 yards today. It's been a great year for you.
Oh, thank you.
We'll be back to James Brooks and David Fulcher, his Bengal teammates. And they have to be delighted right now.
Houston's consistency in the run and shoot has just been incredible in the first half. Their first drive was 4 minutes, 43 seconds, 9 plays. Second drive, 4:11, 9 plays. And there's the third one, 9 plays, 80 yards, 4:58. Actually, that's Ernest Gibbons' drive.
Because of Gibbons' dance, they were penalized 5 yards. They'll have to kick off from the 30. But Woodson is driven all the way back in the end zone anyway. There is another flag on the play. We'll check it out for you.
The kick was a touchback. There is no foul. Timeout.
All right, 11:03 to go first half. The Oilers surprising the Steelers 14-0. ESPN Sunday Night NFL is brought to you by Cadillac and your local Cadillac dealer. Discover why the only way to travel is Cadillac style. By Team NFL, the officially licensed merchandise of the National Football League. And by Levi's Dockers. If they're not Dockers, they're just pants. 11:03 to go in the first half of play from the Astrodome in Houston. The Oilers on top of the Steelers 14-0. Warren Williams, number 42, is in at running back for the first time. Dump it to Hodge and almost intercepted by Fuller. Hit him right in the chest. What was Bubby thinking about on that one?
Well, it's a flare screen, and what you have to count on is the tackle to cut down the defensive end. Give a lot of credit to William Fuller. See? He almost goes down, but then he manages to jump up. It's just a great defensive play. Can't blame Bubby for that. The tackle's got to try and keep him on the ground a little bit more, or he's got to get the ball out there quicker.
Fuller has already had a big game, and the Steelers' offense has been totally throttled by this Houston defense, and they knew they had to play big tonight. Williams, inside handoff. Maybe a couple, and that's it. Sean Jones was in there. Doug Smith has been bothered by back spasms all year, and Childress was also in there. Here's the Budweiser storyline from the Astrodome. The Steelers, with a turnover on their own 33, helped Houston to a touchdown. Carlson has been superb in the first half. Houston dominating the game on the ground, also dominating in time of possession. 3rd and 8 Steelers. Brister's trying to get to the 30. He won't make it. Johnny Meade. And they'll have to kick it again.
And this is where the noise is paying off for the Houston Oilers. You saw Bubby Brister walk to the line of scrimmage. What he told the center, he said, Dermonti, listen, I'm going to go to a silent count. When you see my foot come up, then you snap it back as we practice. That's why he walked up and back.
Straczynski, who got off a boomer early, will kick to McNeil, whose career average of 9, far above 5.8 of this year. Straczynski high and short. McNeil. Not this time. Only gets a couple out of it. Punt of 43 yards. Nice hang time. A return of 3. 14-0 Oilers. Houston dominating the Pittsburgh Steelers and leading 14-0 second quarter.
You know what you need out of a punter, there's Straczynski. you're looking for 4 seconds as a coach. You just don't want to take the chance of somebody running it back, especially when you got a Gerald McNeil back there. You take a look at this hang time. Right now, the coach feels pretty good. Right there, he's elated. 4.8 on a hang time.
Carlson, 9 out of 13, 84 yards. Lorenzo White has rushed for 52. White trying to add to that total. Cuts it outside. Nice block by Hill. Drew Hill, a veteran out of Georgia Tech, came back and gave him a nice block.
Actually, you want to call that a block. That's like a quarterback block.
Screened him.
Okay, it's a screen.
No,
it's a
quarterbacks go for the ankle.
This is a stand-up, make him run around me type block. This one gets in a new category. Watch, Lorenzo White breaks it outside. And there's Drew Hill. See, you don't, this is something I tried to explain to my coaches all the time. You don't have to hit a guy hard to get a block. You can just touch him. He'll move.
That's when they walked away from you, wasn't it?
That's right.
2nd and 4. White again. Boy, great blocking up front, and White has the first down at his own 44-yard line.
Oh, did David Williams, the right tackle, do a job and give him a chance to cut back?
They just cleared that side of the field.
Well, the thing is what you're seeing now is a lot of cutbacks. Houston's run the reverse. Watch the lower part of your screen. Watch the job number 73 does. Down on the right side, number 73. Watch him come back. Look at this job. He's 5 yards. Look at that. There's the old smash block.
He took Donald Evans, the right defensive end, about 5 yards downfield and then pancaked him. Clock running, 7:53 to go first half. Houston in control. Carlson pump fake. Willis on the sack. ESPN kicks off New Year's Day with College Game Day. Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, Charlene Hawks will all be there to preview the bowls at 10:30 in the morning Eastern Time. And then at 11:30, it's the Mazda Gator Bowl. Ole Miss against Michigan. Two of the nation's top 20 teams. That's on New Year's Day right here on ESPN. Hope it's as exciting as this one. This is a beauty so far. Especially if you're an Oilers fan. 2nd and long. Carlson completes another one. And a nice job by Tony Jones, the rookie out of Texas. Delton Hall makes the stop, and it's a gain of 14.
This offense is based on stretching the defense and speed. Tony Jones has got all the speed in the world. They talk around 4-2-5 for him. Cody comes out, sets up, just throws the ball. Jones pushes the defensive guy off. That's Delton Hall. Comes back, makes the reception. The big difference I've noticed in Houston's offense is these guys are hanging on to everything. Making some great catches and hanging on to everything.
Coming into this game, Jones had caught 26 passes, 6 of them for touchdowns. They love to go deep to him, and you have to respect his speed. Got that one underneath. Well, he's frightening when he gets in the open field down to the Pittsburgh 36-yard line. Larry Griffin out of North Carolina had to make the tackle.
You know, this is like playing Loyola Marymount in basketball. You know that they're not going to stop what they're doing. Houston's not going to come out and run the ball 3 or 4 times in a row to try and control the clock or anything else. They're just going to keep on dropping back and firing. Pittsburgh's going to have to change something soon.
The total yardage approaching 200 for Houston in the first half. The Steelers at 53. White slides off the tackle down to the 30-yard line, hit by Everett, but got about another 3 yards. White has run well, and 5 different Houston wideouts have caught the ball in the first half.
Cody Carlson is doing, actually, he is just doing what Pittsburgh is dictating to him to do. This offense is geared upon the receivers reading and the quarterback reading the receivers. They have places to go. If he's not there, I'll go over here. If he's not there, I'll go over there.
Well, philosophically, that's fine to say it, but he's the guy out there who's doing it, and he has made great throws, too.
And the offensive line has given him great lanes to throw in.
First down, Oilers, 5:05 to go first half. They already lead 14-0. Carlson, the double pump. Duncan, he's had a big night inside the 20. Forced out of bounds at the 16, and he and Shelton Hall are after each other. No place to lose your cool here.
I'll tell you something. You see who came over and grabbed him? Ernest Givens. Now, remember last week, in that game last week, Ernest Givens gets himself a 15-yard penalty for bumping an official after a demonstration in the end zone. I had a chance to visit with him, and he said, I made a big mistake. You get caught up in the heat of the moment. And he said, the thing that we have to do is play smart. That was real smart.
Duncan, 3 catches, 33 yards, and Carlson, why not? Let him sub for Warren Moon in the Pro Bowl. He's 12 out of 16, 121 yards.
3 of them been knocked down.
Yeah. Another reverse, Givens. Inside the 10 to the 3. Munchak threw him a great block. And normally when you run that play once, you can't burn him again because you made him so mad the first time.
But the problem is you only got one back in the backfield. You'll see Lorenzo go this way. Givens will come around. Watch the flow of the defense. Even though they've got 4 guys on that side, they're still going to go to the flow of the back. Look at the entire defense go right. Now they're pursuing so hard, they can't get back.
Ernest Givens has 44 yards rushing. The Steelers, as a team, have 24 so far. 1st and goal. Carlson for Hill. Almost picked off by Carnell Lake. It would have been 100 yards. Boy, he read the pattern beautifully.
Well, they saw him throw the flat route to Drew Hill down there when they were in trying for the second one. Here he comes out. Carnell Lake just reads it perfectly. Would have been a tough interception. Ooh. Warren says, gosh, I'd have to come off the sidelines and made the tackle.
Warren threw 4 interceptions the first time they played the Steelers. 2nd and goal, and this is the secondary that has 23 interceptions to lead the conference this year.
Cody Carlson comes out to the right, sets. He has no intention to go in there. It was a decoy. Now he just picks and reads, but look at the time he has to throw the football. Warren Moon says, yeah, give me another week to heal.
Garcia for the point after. And Drew Hill's 3rd catch gives him 73 for the year. That breaks his previous career high set 2 years ago. There's a flag down on the extra point. We'll check it for you. Oh, what a first half of the Houston offense.
Number 53 of the defense lined up in the neutral zone. The extra point is good. The penalty be on the kickoff. Timeout.
Cody Carlson has put his team ahead 21-0, and Warren Moon couldn't be happier for him. Drew Hill on the sideline. He has seen his Oilers behind Cody Carlson go up 21-0 in the first half.
They're starting to talk about Drew Hill in the same affectionate way that people have talked about the great Charlie Joyner, one of the elder statesmen of football, now coaching out in San Diego.
Garcia kicks that one to Dallas. Crushed it out of the end zone. Woodson doesn't even get a chance. Pittsburgh will start from its own 20 with 3:23 to go in the half. The Steelers have equaled the most points they have allowed this year in the first half against Houston. It's 21-0.
There you see Pittsburgh's secondary talking over Carnell Lake, Dwayne Woodford standing there just trying to figure it out. Thomas Everett coming in, explaining what he's going to do. This is what this offense creates for a defensive secondary. They have to be able to communicate because the receivers are passing through the secondary, and you got to know whether to go with them or turn them loose.
The numbers on Brister, he's only thrown 3 times, completed 2 for 29 yards. Going to have to crank the arm up a little. Hodge, hit in the backfield. Childress, the Pro Bowl interior lineman. I asked Jack Pardee what kind of a year he had. Said he had a Pro Bowl year, not a Hall of Fame year. If everyone else had been healthy up front, he would have had a Hall of Fame year.
He's been the quiet one. I mean, here's a play. Take a look at that. What? There you are. There you go. 8 Houston Oilers at the line of scrimmage. They're absolutely defying the Pittsburgh Steelers to run the football. You don't have enough people to block how many people are up there. It's going to fall on the shoulders. In the beginning, I said it, and even more now. Bubby Brister's going to have to make some completions and make some plays.
2nd and 14. 4-man rush. Brister out of trouble. Throws to Green. Green fighting a tackler down the sideline inside the 40. He was dragging Lamar Lathan with him. Well, what a target this guy is.
Oh, what great athletic ability by Bubby Brister to get himself in position to make the throw. And you've got a guy 275 pounds. I mean, if you looked up and got knocked out, you think one of your offensive linemen was running down the field. You don't think that's a great throw? Not only did he have to jump in the air over one of his linemen, but he puts it right over top of a line. Look at this. He jumps on top and over his offensive lineman. That's just a great throw right there.
It's a gain of 46 yards. Lathan is no little guy, and he had trouble getting a hold of Green. Steelers needed that badly. And we have reached the 2-minute warning. They won't get the playoff. So the Steelers, still with a chance to win the AFC Central, are down 21-0. Houston leading 21-0. Pittsburgh is driving. The Steelers, who were limited to 123 yards in the first game, have 95 right now. Coming up at halftime, Chris Berman with the highlights of all the action this weekend. Tom Jackson will take a look at the playoff picture, which is quite clear at this point, and Joe will be back to talk about what has happened here in the first half. And I assume you'll be talking a lot about the Houston Oilers.
I have a feeling the Oilers might be the topic of conversation at this point.
Spot the ball at the 38, 1st and 10 Steelers. Play action to Hodge. Childress gets his 2nd sack. His 9th of the year.
Ray Childress reminds me a lot of Millard with the Vikings. He's a relentless player. He's a guy who's got a motor that starts and never stops. There you see him come from the off side of the play, that meaning the side away from where the ball originally is intended, comes all the way around, fights off the blocker to make the sack.
Tell you, the other guy they have compared him to here in Texas is Dallas great Bob Lilly. And you get mentioned in the same breath with Lilly, you're doing all right. Here's a blitz. Lathan coming, they get it to Green. Got away from one tackle, lost the ball, got it back at the 35. Gain of 12. Great job by Brister to get rid of it because Lathan was going to take his head off. And the Steelers call a timeout.
Houston feeling like they've got the momentum on their side after the sack. They want to drive the Steelers back further. Green just says, hey, there's nobody around me, Bubby. Well, obviously, they all went after him. But he does a nice job of keeping his feet, gets the ball knocked away, and a bounce goes their way.
And look who made the tackle. That's Childress.
That's a nice job by Brister just to get rid of the football. He was looking out to the left. Latham came from the right. Childress is back there in pass coverage. This guy's doing everything tonight.
Bubby has completed 4 out of 5, and all 4 have gone to his monster tight end, Eric Green.
They call him the big guy. How's that for a catchy nickname?
Brister trying to fire up the troops. And they need fired up right now. They're down 21-0.
That's Bubby Brister's normal state. I mean, he's a very intense guy. What he's done in the huddle is he's called 2 plays, and he's told them to get up there after the ball is completed, or we're going to go for it on 4th down.
3rd and 7. The Steelers in the 2-minute drill have not gotten a touchdown this year. Bell came out of the backfield and stopped Brister thought he would continue and overthrew to the sideline. Good coverage by Leander Knight, number 21.
They were going to try and isolate Bell up the sideline. They'll come out of the backfield. There goes the leg. That's a silent count. 1-1,000, 2-1,000. Now he just hooks it up. See, we talk about Houston's receivers reading the defense. In that case, Bell had to read the coverage. He thought the defender was so far off him, he'd hook up.
Gary Anderson from 52. And it's wide. It was long enough, but one of the most accurate kickers in the history of the NFL puts it wide left. And there is still a 0 beside Pittsburgh on the scoreboard. Well, they needed anything at that point, Joe. Even 3 would have lifted them.
I'll tell you what the problem is. You see where they got the ball? Houston winds up with the ball on the 35-yard line. If you go for it on 4th down, they're going to wind up with the ball on the 35-yard line anyway. Why not go for it on 4th down? You know, maybe you isolate Eric Green again. The percentages aren't in your favor. Gary Anderson's 0 for 1 from 52 yards anyway. I can't think that's much of a high percentage as it is. Go for it on 4th down. I don't agree with that call at all.
Houston takes over with 1:06 to go in the half. This offense can do some damage in 1:06. Carlson throws complete to Jeffries at midfield. Boy, they're just eating up this Pittsburgh defense.
Pittsburgh's playing them in a zone. The receivers are finding the hole.
Alan Pinkett, number 20, is in the backfield and goes out. There's the lone setback. Steelers haven't got any pressure. Harris to the 40, first down to the 39. Leonard Harris out of Texas Tech making his 12th catch of the year. They have used nearly everybody at wideout, and the guys they have used have caught the ball.
Cody Carlson, in an article this week, talked about the fact that a lot of the people in the organization, coaches, players, were saying that, you know, they have a lot of confidence in him. And he says, well, even if they don't, they better lie and make me feel that way for a little while. He's earned the respect and has a lot of confidence. Warren's got to be sitting there going, now, wait a second, Cody. It's one thing to go out and be an adequate backup. It's another thing to go out and set the place on fire.
Carlson, 15 out of 20, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. And a couple of our live guests from Seattle, Joe Kane and Dave Wyman, who have to be the only 2 linebackers on this team that were signed when the season started. They've been devastated, had a great win today, and they cannot be very pleased with what is going on tonight. They are rooting for the Steelers. That's the only way they make the playoffs as a wild card. Right now, it doesn't look good. Steelers in desperate need of a turnover. Pinkett on the delay. Got maybe a yard.
Houston will be very happy to settle for a field goal if they can get in field goal range.
2nd and 9, clock running under 30 seconds. Givens, ripped down by Carnell Lake. Steelers trying to be very physical. There's Garcia on the sideline waiting for a chance.
You know, a lot was made in that first meeting, Mike, about the fact that the Houston Oilers lost the game, that Warren Moon threw 4 interceptions. But what was the most deceptive part of that game when you look back is all the drop passes that the Houston Oilers receivers had chances to make. Would have been a whole different ballgame. What's happening tonight is probably not a lot different than what we would have seen in week 2, except that these guys are hanging on to the ball.
Houston with 1 timeout left, 22 seconds on the clock. If you joined us late, here's what happened. White capped off a 33-yard drive after a fumble, and Houston led 17-0. And then Cody Carlson really got it going on a drive that featured Givens that made it 14-0. They raised the ante to 21-0 when Drew Hill caught a short one in the end zone from Cody Carlson, and that brings you up to date with 22 seconds left in the first half. 3rd and 3 for Houston from the Pittsburgh 32. Carlson will try to run for it, hit from behind and dropped by Kenny Davidson, the backup defensive end.
Look at that. Cody Carlson was looking to be helped up by one of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Kenny Davidson just pulled his arm away and said, I'm not going to help you up. What, are you kidding me? You go back to your huddle. Get out of here.
Got to have a lot of family and friends down here playing out of Baylor, and they will measure for the first down. And it will be well short. Bring up 4th and inches. They are within Garcia's range at this point. He missed a 50-yarder earlier. And Garcia will come on. Signed in the 8th game, and this is his 5th team in 3 years. Thought he had a job at Seattle, but they decided to stick with Norm Johnson in preseason. And he has kicked well for this club. Zendejas is eligible to come off injured reserve, but Garcia has done well enough to keep the job, even if Zendejas gets to be 100%.
Greg Montgomery, the holder, and also the Oiler punter at this rate, he's going to remain the holder because he just doesn't get a chance to punt.
47 yards, got plenty of distance, and it's through. The Oilers piling it on. They lead 24-0. Boy, this thing would have been good from 55. He killed it.
He hit it solid, right down the tubes. Usually you see these soccer guys hook the ball a little bit. This one's dead down the middle from the get-go.
They have a little bit better protection for him because he gets the ball up so quickly. Nobody's going to be able to block it up the middle. They jam the line up.
What you do is if you jam the middle where they try and send people up to get their hands up, they know that the wingmen coming around the outside just don't stand a chance. So one helps the other. A kicker that quick certainly helps the protection, and it makes it a lot easier for you to be more effective as a field goal unit.
Boy, if you're the Steelers, you have to be shell-shocked right now.
Well, your offense barely moves the ball, and if they don't get touchdowns, they haven't been able to match everything that the Oilers have done.
Steelers can win the Central Division with a win tonight. If they don't win, they are out of the playoffs. The Oilers can make it as a wild card, and here's the squib kick. It will get through to Woodson. But Woodson stacked up before he reached the 30-yard line. And there's only 6 seconds to go on the first half clock. Glenn Montgomery, defensive tackle, was down to make the stop. There's a flag on the play and some more pushing and shoving. And it will go against Pittsburgh, a personal foul.
Unnecessary roughness, number 22 of Pittsburgh, 15 yards, and it's a first down.
Larry Griffin. Yep.
Got him twice. You got him once, I got him the other time. Well, I'll tell you, nothing will upset Chuck more than those kind of penalties. I mean, any coach, as well as any coach, but, you know, he's turning around looking, saying, hey, look, you can't lose your composure out there. Tough enough as it is. Don't put us any further in the hole.
Well, you just see it on their faces. Let's get this over with, get in the locker room, and figure out what we're going to do. They send 3 wideouts to the far side. Brister in the shotgun. Dumps it off to Merrill Hodge. One blocker in front of him. And that will end a first half dominated by the Houston Oilers. Trying to get into the playoffs as a wild card. They are stomping the Steelers 24-0. Tonight, on behalf of NFL Charities, Oilers owner Bud Adams and Steeler president Dan Rooney announced a grant to Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, making the total commitment $180,000 to Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. Gary Danielson's down on the sideline. Let's check in with him right now. Gary?
All right, thanks, Mike. Talked to Ernest Givens. I said, what's going on? This is the #1 defense in the league. He said 2 things. Give Cody confidence and catch the ball. That's the only thing they had to do tonight, and they're catching the ball. Mike?
Boy, have they ever, Gary. Woodson deep to take the kickoff from the 6. Steelers could use a big return. They won't get it. He stopped at the 24-yard line, and the Oilers have done everything right.
Well, when you take into consideration your quarterback is your leading rusher, and you haven't thrown a single pass to the wide receivers, you know you got to do something. Just the number of plays alone is reflective of what's happened. 39 for the Oilers, 16 for the Steelers. Every number, I mean, you know, when you talk about every number comes up in the Oilers' favor. First downs, 18-4. Third down conversions. Time of possession is the big one, 2-1.
The most points the Steelers have scored in the second half this season is 24. They need 24 to tie. Williams. Oh. Grimsley stood him straight up. Grimsley is in there because Al Smith had exactly the same injury as Warren Moon, the dislocated thumb. And he tried to play last week with one arm, really couldn't make any tackle, so Grimsley moved inside.
And you need the activity out of the middle. Now here's a case where he has both hands, wraps it up, fills the hole nicely, and just meets Warren Williams head on.
2nd and 7. Grimsley was projected to be the starting middle linebacker in training camp, but he held out. Smith won the job, and they couldn't get him out of there. Brister under some pressure, throws short. Lips went deep, and Brister threw to the sideline. Richard Johnson on the coverage. The Steelers, the individual leaders. Green was the only one who caught a pass in the first half. Brister with 14 yards rushing, Worley with 5. That won't get it done. On defense, Carnell Lake, a couple of big hits, made 4 tackles. That was the first time they tried to throw a wide receiver.
Well, Pittsburgh's going to need some help from their defense. Offensively, they are not going to be able to overcome this alone. They're going to need their defense to make some big plays for them, or the special teams.
First big play of the half. Brister facing 3rd and 7. Delay to Hodge. Hodge diving for the sticks. He needed to get between the 34 and the 35. That's where he ended up. Kennard made the tackle. There's a flag on the play. Hodge is very close to a first down.
Too many men on the field for Houston. I mean, they're beating them with 11. I can't understand why they want to go 12. Okay, we will. We'll take a timeout and look at the sticks. I'm going to go out on a limb again. I think he made it distance-wise. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, I caught you. See, that's not the place to hide. You can't hide in the middle of the field. I'll never forget what Seth Joyner told me from the Philadelphia Eagles. I asked him, is there a weakness in that Philadelphia defense? He said, as long as you play with 11 men, there is always going to be a weakness somewhere. Houston just solved that. They played with 12.
They'll take the play instead of the penalty because they do get the first down out of it.
Jim Eddy, the defensive coordinator of the Houston Oilers. Back up. Give me some room. Just give me some room. Look out. Okay.
That 8-yard carry was the longest run of the game for the Steelers. First down at the 34-yard line. Hodge again. Big hole this time against an 11-man defense, and he crossed at midfield. 12 worked better.
That time it was 10. See what happens, sometimes it gets confusing. It's tough to run against 12. It's actually easier against 11. See over here? That guy sneaking out there? I'm not going to count him for you, but I'll tell you the truth. There's 9 of them out there, or 11 out there, and then he's going to zip off. They say everybody's counting. They say, well, no, coach, wait, what do you want me to do? Wait, okay, I'll get out of here. There we go, up top. You can see Jim Eddy, he's not real thrilled. And then the big play by Merrill Hodge, pick up the first down.
Hodge already with a career-high rushing, came in with 735 yards. He'll get it again. The Steelers, if you're wondering about what they're doing here, I think it's pretty obvious. They're trying to establish something. They haven't been able to do it the entire first half. And even if they take 8 minutes off the clock, if they get a scoring drive out of this, they'll at least be able to say something to themselves and to the Oiler defense.
They can't take 8 minutes off the clock. Joe Walton cannot afford, with the score 24-0, to take 8 minutes off. What he's going to do, though, is he just can't let that defensive front four, the Houston Oilers, tee off on Bobby Brister. These are control runs to control the rush. He's still going to have to throw to put points on the board.
Chris Callaway, number 88, is into the wide receiver. Pump fake by Brister. Deep for Hill. He's all alone. Hill to the 4. Bo Orlando made the saving tackle after a gain of 43. Well, the pump fake got him that time.
Well, you know what happens is you've got Chris Dishman. Now, Chris Dishman and Patrick Allen are the two gambling corners of the Houston Oilers. Richard Johnson is not. That time, they went up top on the right side where Dishman is. There goes the motion. Little quick out, turn it, and go. Whoa! He says, wait a second, where'd you go? Boy, some great help from Bo Orlando, or else that's 6.
Dishman just fell to breeze. First and goal, Steelers. Hodge. Touchdown. That is a huge drive for the Steelers. They had to have that.
They really did. Coaches constantly preach in the locker room at halftime. All right, the first drive and the first possession of the second half is going to set the tone for us. The Steelers have come out, set the tone offensively. Now they're going to need their defense to help out.
Anderson will go for the point after. He's got it, and the deficit has been cut to 17. There's a flag down on the play. We'll check that for you.
Number 28 of the defense is offside. The point is good. The offside will be penalized on the kickoff. Timeout.
That was Dishman, and Merrill Hodge, who has now gained 30 yards on 4 carries and a touchdown, has made our score Houston 24 and Pittsburgh 7. 11 minutes, 17 seconds to go from the Astrodome in Houston. The Steelers finally get on the board. They are down 24-7. Kicking off, and Gary Anderson puts it in the end zone, down by Pinkett. Let's check in with David Fulcher of the Cincinnati Bengals at the Waterfront Restaurant. David, what do you think so far, the performance of the Oilers, the guys you're rooting for?
Well, I tell you, one thing about it is these guys are playing, and hopefully they can keep doing what they're doing, and I can get rid of this hat pretty soon.
David, you think the Steelers showed a little spark on that first drive?
Well, that last drive they just had 3 minutes ago was probably promising, and I think if they can continue to keep doing that, they can get back in this ball game, but hopefully that doesn't happen.
All right, David, thanks very much. We'll check back with you in a little bit. 11 minutes, 10 seconds to go, third quarter. Houston takes over at its own 20. White. Nickerson and Hinkle collapse on him after a gain of about 3.
First instinct, you think, oh, well, you know, they're going to start to run the ball. They can't run the ball. There's your numbers. White with 12 rushes, 71 yards in the TD. Givens, 44 yards rushing. Duncan and Givens both with 4 and 3 catches, respectively. And Ray Childress proven why he's a Pro Bowl player.
2nd and 7. The commander has been just that tonight. Carlson has been superb. Carlson goes down this time, however. That will go as a sack. It looked like we had some early movement up front, but no flag.
Gerald Williams is tired of getting beat. Boy, he got off the ball so quick. I mean, he read it. The thing is you're allowed to move if you're a defensive player, but in this case, he moves up instead of forward. That means he didn't cross into the neutral zone of the ball. Bruce Matthews comes up and says, hey, where did he come from so quick?
3rd and 12. The Steeler defense is desperate to provide some help here. Drew Hill, late forces him out of bounds, very close to a first down. It depends on the spot, a gain of 13. And it is a first down.
Cody Carlson just coming out, and they're working the perimeter of this defense. What they're doing is running the corners off, and instead of allowing the linebackers to help out on inside routes, they're running the inside receivers outside and making them chase them.
Carlson scrambling. First down, got out of bounds. Woodson with his world-class speed was coming, but it was a gain of 16.
This offense just puts so much pressure on a defense. There, the secondary finally does a good job. They finally cover everybody, and all of a sudden, Cody Carlson has a seam to run up inside. Here's the secondary. They line up 4 across. They don't want to give them a pre-read. Got the people up front to stop the run, so if you're the run-and-shoot quarterback, you say, oh, we got to throw. Nice job in coverage. But look at the wide-open seam up to the top of the screen.
Carlson deep down the middle. Jeffries! Touchdown! He beat the fastest man on the field, Rod Woodson, for 53 yards, and Jeffries has just gone over 1,000 for the season.
They isolate, they bring the receivers, they hook everybody on the right side, and they let Jeffries go up top. Now Woodson just makes a decision to try and jump and swat it away.
Garcia for the point after. And what an answer the Houston Oilers had for the Pittsburgh Steelers scoring drive. They come back to go the length of the field to lead 31-7. Haywood Jeffries, who so long had played behind Givens and Hill in the run and shoot, getting a chance to play all the time, and he has shown it to you tonight. And Rod Woodson now trying to redeem himself after being burned for 56 yards. Hasn't had much success on kick returns tonight. The Oilers have done a great job. There he goes. Woodson driven out of bounds after he crossed the 30. Fine return, and D. Thomas was the man who made the tackle on Woodson.
Haywood Jeffries said he likes to play against man-to-man. This is the key right here, the safety, Thomas Everett. He's going to bite. As the receiver comes across the middle, he's going to bite. You're going to see Jeffries go down and just run right to the post, right by Woodson. See the safety go back now. Here he comes up, tries to come up to help, and that's what happens. Once the safety leaves the middle, the corners are all alone. Not much of a move. This is just running up the field. Woodson gambles to try and knock it away, and it just gets over him.
The Steelers have given up 31 points tonight, the most this year. Brister to Green after he released. Being covered very well by Johnny Meads, the weak side linebacker.
The Houston defense is getting the perfect complement from their offense. Remember we show comparisons of the run and shoot defenses. The nature of that offense is to have the defense on the field a lot. That isn't the case tonight. They've been every time, the last 5 times the Oilers have gotten the football, they put points on the board.
And most of the drives have been time-consuming drives, not like the last one. 2nd and 10 for Brister. Childress got a big jump, no flag. Williams dives across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Dishman and Latham made the tackle there.
This is almost unfair. There's a quarterback comparison. Brister, I mean, Normally, you'd say he's having a decent day, 6 for 10, 140 yards. That's pretty good. But you come over to Cody Carlson, keep in mind, he's 18 for 23. 3 of those passes were knocked down at the line of scrimmage. So balls he's gotten past the line of scrimmage, he's 18 for 20.
He had 5 touchdown passes in his career until tonight. He has thrown 3 more. Boy, he has just been sensational. 3rd and 3 for the Steelers. They have to score every time they have the ball. Hodge got the first down, and that's the 2nd drive in a row where they have faced 3rd and what has become long in the NFL, more than a yard, that they have gone to the delay for Merrill Hodge, and he's gotten it both times.
What they're counting on is when you go up against the 4-3 defense, they play what's called a 1 gap. That means that the defensive linemen are responsible for only 1 gap. They don't hit the offensive linemen and read either side of them, so they fire up the field. That's what they want to do. They couldn't afford to come out of there and throw the ball with an incompletion. That would demoralize them right away.
Clock running, 7:05 to go, 3rd quarter. Houston by 24. Brister pump fake again. They'll try this play one more time. Hill had some contact with Theismann down the sideline. Theismann played it well. He got that right arm out there trying to restrict Hill's movement.
Well, the last time he bit big on the movement. This time Hill's stationary, comes out, doesn't really sell him much. I think if he'd have done a better job selling the route, he'd have been able to get on top of him and get a little more space, because Theismann was ready to bite again. It's so hard to discipline a receiver to take the time to sell a route. They believe they have to do it in a hurry and get up the field.
Brister with good time, throws the comeback route, complete at the 42-yard line. Stone caught that one in front of Dishman. Gain of 17. Of course, this game is for the playoffs. If Pittsburgh wins, they're the AFC Central champions. They're out of the playoffs if they lose, and Cincinnati takes the title. Houston can get in as a wild card. They have to win this game. If they tie or lose, they're gone, and Seattle gets in. And the Seahawks must be sick to their stomach at this point after the great comeback they've had from an 0-3 start, the heartbreak games they've had, the last second game, and the win today. They are still rooting for the Steelers. Williams broke a couple of tackles, driving forward to the Houston 36.
You know, Mike, we got 6 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Lewis Lips has absolutely been non-existent. He's their leading receiver with 47 catches on the year, and he just has disappeared. Now, he doesn't necessarily have the kind of speed that a Derek Hill or a Dwight Stone does, but he's a guy who can get your team fired up. Somehow, you want to try and get him involved in the game. So far, he's just been a decoy.
They've only thrown anywhere near him once. That was incomplete. In fact, on the touchdown pass to Derek Hill, Lips wasn't even in the game.
Joe Walton trying to keep something going.
2nd and 3. Brister chase and sack. William Fuller gets his 2nd sack.
William Fuller from the lower left side of your screen, just coming hard up the field, making the move on Tunjilkin, and he just beats him.
Well, that ball came out of there in a hurry.
I'll tell you, they're calling in the grasp so quick. See? Now they call in the grasp, in the grasp. I got to believe that you got to change this rule and let quarterbacks play football. Please.
Of course, the whistle blew, so it won't make any difference anyhow. 3rd and 14. They are going to review it, though.
Yeah, but you see, it won't matter because the official would have an inadvertent whistle on the field. There's no sense reviewing it. The official blew the play dead. These guys are wasting their time or getting camera time. You know what I think they should do with the instant replay? I'm funny you should ask. They should throw it out next year and just do a comparison to see if it's really worth keeping or not. Then you got something to compare it to, and then the following year, if you find out that it works, keep it. If you find out that it doesn't, get rid of it.
Ezra Johnson came up with a loose ball and
Quarterback
set
was
sail.
rolled in the grass, and the whistle had blown. Third down.
Well, that's what they ought to tell the instant replay official, is don't bother because we blew the whistle. There's no sense going through the exercise.
Well, what you do is, to me, it stops momentum. Houston's defense is on a roll. And then all of us, it's like having a fighter on the ropes and just say, oh, timeout, we want to see if you threw the punch.
Everything with a Houston label on it is on a roll tonight. 3rd and 14. Brister again flushed out of the pocket. Sideline, Hill, out of bounds, but there's a flag down. He was being covered by Patrick Allen. Would be a gain of 21, enough for a first down. And let's see how the officials sort this one out.
Number 82, the receiver, was bumped out of bounds. Came back in, was the first illegal touching. Lost it down. 4th down.
What a huge penalty that is.
Well, you just can't do it. You get dropped out of bounds. Now, he's nowhere near, really, the sidelines. Now, there, when he makes his turn, now, see, Dishman, he can put a hand on him. What happens is when a quarterback starts to run, all bets are off bumping receivers because these receivers become potential blockers. So he just guided him out of bounds.
Duncan is back to receive the punt of Dan Krasinski.
Got a question for you, though. If he was ruled out of bounds, that means that he didn't touch the ball in bounds, so he wasn't an eligible receiver anyway. How can you rule against him?
Beautiful high punt. Duncan signals fair catch, makes it at the 7-yard line. I will try to answer your question when we come back.
Thank you.
Four minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Houston leading Pittsburgh 31-7. One of the more interested onlookers tonight, the fine middle linebacker of the Seattle Seahawks, David Wyman. And David, doesn't look good for you right now, does it?
No, it doesn't. We're a little disappointed here in Seattle.
Thought the Steelers would do a little better tonight?
Yeah, we did. They have to win this game to get in, and we thought they'd be a little more fired up about it. But, you know, that's how it goes in the NFL.
Haven't given up yet, have you?
No, we haven't. We still got our Steeler banner out.
All right. 4 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Oilers take over at their own 7. Boy, nice job that time by Lorenzo White. Did a 15-second dance, picked up a couple of yards, finally covered by Williams and Willis. You made the point earlier that they can't run. Of course, they do run, but the point is they can't come out and just make up their mind they want to run. They run depending on what the defense gives them.
Yeah, it's the count. It's the old count procedure.
In the box.
Yes. Getting back to the point I said before about the receiver.
Which I still don't understand.
Well, he was ruled out of bounds, so that was the end of it.
Oh. Thank you.
That's the end of it.
Carlson in trouble, got away. Carlson to the 18-yard line, took a big shot there from Brian Hinkle, and he's got another first down.
Nice job of scrambling around. Now here, got to play at him. Does a nice job of making the move to get away. Gets upfield and does what any good, smart quarterback, get to the ground in a hurry.
Well, when Hinkle put a helmet in his ribs, while the moon is down, Carl's sun will shine. We try to translate all of these. Reggie Slack, I think, went to pick up his helmet. He is the backup quarterback. White struggles for a couple, gets up to the 24. Slack had not been on the roster. He was on the practice squad out of Auburn. They picked him in the 12th round this year. They also had Don McPherson on the roster. Both of these guys were dropped and re-signed a couple of times.
That young man during warm-ups was as nervous as I have seen a quarterback. Ernest is saying, do not run. We do not want, you're messing with my money. Do not run.
And you don't need it right now. A minute 55 to go third quarter. You're just trying to protect this lead. White trapped in the backfield, brought down for a loss of a couple. This time Williams, the nose man, got through. Boy, the Oilers made a change that got them some criticism here, moving Bruce Matthews, the Pro Bowl guard, to center, benching Jay Pennison, but it's really worked out beautifully for them up front.
And this is where the rule change to speed up the game really kills the team that's behind. Because now the offense sits there with 40 seconds on the clock once it's marked in play, and they're not going to come out of the huddle for at least another 5.
Another great lineman out of USC. 3rd and 6. We're down to a minute 7 to go third quarter. Dump off to Pinkett. Big hole. Very close to a first down. The tackle made by Dwayne Woodruff. And it's a first down. Boy, have they done everything right tonight.
The play selection has just been beautiful. They run the ball to run some time off the clock. They get themselves in a position where it's 3rd down and 6, 3rd down and 7. Now, if you drop off to cover their receivers, they just sneak Pinkett right underneath, dump the ball to him, and he picks it up.
Pretty bleak picture on the sideline. Carlson has been brilliant in this game. 19 out of 24, 229 yards. Tony Jones, and he's thrown out of bounds by David Johnson. That will stop the clock. 20 out of 25. That is not bad for your backup quarterback.
Oh, that's unbelievable. I mean, gee whiz, that's unbelievable.
Clock running. That will be the end of the third quarter from the Astrodome in Houston. The Oilers shooting for the playoffs. They're up 31-7. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann with you from Houston. Gary Danielson with us tonight, and it has been all Oilers, and you can see the headlines tomorrow. Cody Carlson, the commander-in-charge. Commander-in-chief, maybe.
And Cody eclipses the moon. got all kinds of headlines if Houston continues to play the way they're doing. What they've done is they've established the run early, which forced Pittsburgh to come up and play it, and then they've just turned those little receivers loose and stopping in the holes. Pittsburgh's wanted to play it with a matchup type of zone, and they found the places to be wide open.
The numbers on Carlson. 2nd and 6 here as we start the fourth quarter. White on the delay. First down and more. 45-yard line. Brought down by Larry Griffin. A gain of 12.
That Pittsburgh defensive front has just got to be tired. You can believe that. Look at it. Watch this, what happens here. Look at the rush upfield. They're trying to do everything they can to get to Cody Carlson. Bruce Matthews just continuing to dominate anybody in the middle, Gerald Williams or anybody else who gets in his way.
Lorenzo White, 17 carries, 93 yards, closing in on his 3rd 100-yard game of the season. Carlson with a pump fake, wants to go deep. Out of bounds. Intended for Tony Jones, the speedster. Boy, he was close to getting another 50 yards.
Well, they were going up top on David Johnson. The ball is thrown perfectly. Tony Jones is just close to the sideline. Cody Carlson, I don't think can throw the ball much further. But he puts that thing right on the outside. Look at that. That's great concentration.
Sure is.
They're not dropping anything. Inbounds, out of bounds, it doesn't matter. These guys are hanging on to everything.
The first incompletion this half for Cody Carlson. Dwight Stone with the look of a Pittsburgh Steeler tonight. Carlson has gotten great protection. Jeffrey Lake comes up and grabs him. They're trying to strip the ball, anything they can do. Who's the loneliest guy on this field tonight? Try number 9, Greg Montgomery. the best kicker in the NFL as far as punting average, 45.1, but he is way short, 7 attempts of qualifying. You have to have a minimum number, 2.5 a game. Here's a guy that was not even on the stats that they hand out to the players when they vote for the Pro Bowl. There's no way he's going to get voted in, even with that great average.
Last year he led the league both in gross and net, didn't make it. This year he's leading the league. They ought to change that to give the best punter in the league a chance to go to the Pro Bowl.
And that's no knock on Ron Stark, who will go either, but Montgomery has been brilliant. White will lose yardage this time, hitting the backfield by Davidson.
Uh-oh. See, we talk about somebody. And, you know, like I talked last week about David Craig never fumbling the football. Well, here comes Greg Montgomery. There you see it, 33 punts only. And you need 40 to qualify. And, I mean, when you got an average that leads the league, that should be for guys that are picked up in the middle, not the guys that are on the roster for an entire year.
You made a good point earlier in the week. If Bo Jackson could play half a season and go to the Pro Bowl, why can't this guy?
You're right. I did make that point.
Montgomery is back. Woodson waiting. Not his best effort. Woodson can break one at any time and gets out of bounds as he reaches the 30, a return of 17 after a punt of 42. 12:29 left to go. Both teams fighting for the playoffs, and Houston up big. 31-7, Pittsburgh over Houston. Mike Patrick along with Joe Theismann, and this is Icky Woods, the Waterfront Restaurant in Cincinnati. And Icky, if you can hear me with all the crowd cheering, it looks like you're going to see Houston real soon in the playoffs.
It feels real good to get up in the playoffs. Houston's doing good right now, and hopefully when they come down here next week, we can do the same thing that they're doing in Pittsburgh.
What do you think of Cody Carlson so far?
Oh, Cody Carlson, he's looking real good filling in for Warren Moon. He's a great quarterback, and I know we're going to have to contain him when they come down here, but it's going to be a great ball game.
All right, keep your dancing shoes on. 12:19 to go in this game. Steelers football, Pittsburgh 30. Brister throws short to Hill. Got a monster block from Green.
Well, anybody he blocks.
Oh, this was world class, though.
Who's going to run around him? Eric Green helping out downfield. Look, he doesn't get the ball, but he hunts somebody up. Oh, my goodness.
Bubba McDowell.
He says, come on, man, I'm hurt, and now you're running into me like this. Pittsburgh's got to get a lot of points and a lot of yardage in a hurry.
Down 24 with less than 12 minutes to go. Brister chased again. Throws off balance, complete to Lips. Late hit. Lips is decked out of bounds. The last thing the Oilers needed, and the hit was by Richard Johnson.
They have played a very smart football game up to this point. It's the personal fouls that really got Houston in trouble last year and got him to be a league-leading offender. And here's a similar situation. They lead the league this year, and these are not the penalties that Jack Pardee is proud of. They're the stupid ones.
Boy, and that was. I mean, he was almost ready to turn around and come back.
That was, you know, outside the white lines, which are 6 feet outside. You know, we were talking to Icky Woods in Cincinnati. When I walked around the Houston Oilers locker room yesterday, every one of them said, we are motivated through this game, not just to get in the playoffs, but we want to go back to Cincinnati. So, guys, I can tell you straight out, they want you, and they're doing everything they can to come and get you.
Brister with time, throws short, intercepted. Picked off by Johnson. That's his 8th of the year. So he makes up for the bad play. The ball was underthrown, and Johnson stepped in.
Oh, and Eric Green just got paid back by Lamar Latham. He saw what Eric Green did, and here he comes to pay him back. Excellent play by Richard Johnson, and boy, does he get some help. We talked about him not going to Louis. Here's the post. It's just short. He gets up and runs. Now here comes a little bit of help. Lower left side. Boom! Hello, goodbye.
The Oilers hold the Steelers and have the ball back in a 24-point lead. Chuck Noll looking on, and he hasn't liked nearly everything he's seen tonight. His Steelers are down 31-7, and the Oilers take over at the 16-yard line. Carlson throws complete to Harris. Harris out to the 30, tackled by David Little.
You know, and there are different elements of this offense that create conversation pieces. You figure with the score at 31-7, you don't want your quarterback dropping back and throwing. You want to protect him for the next game, right? The problem you have is you can't, because it's a run-and-shoot offense. You got guys like Lamar Latham there sitting on the sidelines laying hits on everybody around the field, thinking they're saying, hey, great, keep it up, offense.
10-23 and counting. Oilers trying to protect a huge lead. Carlson picked off by Woodson. He's got a chance. Woodson dragged out of bounds as he reached the 10-yard line by Duncan. A return of 35. And the Steelers desperately needed a big defensive play. It may be too late, however.
Well, we talked about the fact that their defense was going to have to come up with something. The offense just couldn't generate enough points to come back. It's still going to be close. The defense has got one. They're going to have to make at least one more big play. This is a corner pattern. Cody just doesn't get it up high enough in the air. Woodson goes up and brings it down. Then he looks for the picket fence and some help.
The Steelers are going to need a couple more of those, and they need to score off of them in a hurry. Williams hitting the backfield, got away inside the 10. Doug Smith had him dead to rights for about a 4-yard loss and couldn't bring him down. Grimsley finally got him.
Talked to Doug Smith yesterday. He says, I love playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's man on man. I don't like them. They don't like me.
Says he keeps a stat sheet from the first Steeler game where he had no tackles, no sacks, in fact, no nothing. And he said he was embarrassed by it, and he's not going to let it happen again. Brister throws. Green couldn't get in. What a job Dishman and McDowell did. And you really need two guys to tackle Green.
One to hit him high, one to hit him low. Green releases. He slow blocks on the linebacker. Now he slides out in the flat. Now he's got McDowell beat, probably. He'll get in the end zone, but Dishman comes up and does a nice job. McDowell tries to take him low. Dishman takes him high.
Boy, defensive backs have to have their heart up in their throat when they see this guy in the second.
Where do you hit him?
We've got a timeout on the field. 8:45 to go in the game. Houston leads it by 24. ESPN Sunday Night NFL is brought to you by Isuzu. For features, styling, and price, there's no comparison. And by Corbel Champagne. We have so much to celebrate. And they're getting ready to celebrate in Houston, Texas. Their club up 31-7 with 8:45 to go. The Steelers driving. They have the ball inside the 2, third, and a short 2. They could get a first down near the goal line. They split the tight formation now with Malarkey and Green, the tight end. Hodge, touchdown. Merrill Hodge, second rushing touchdown of the ball game.
Pittsburgh needed to score right there. They couldn't afford to lose any more seconds off the clock. What you do is you start Malarkey in motion to try and take some of the attention. Talk about the aggressive nature of the defense and just trap them like the Steelers have done. Here comes the trap by the guard. He just finds the hole and gets the ball in the end zone.
Anderson for the point after. 31-14, and it shows you how important the Houston touchdown in this half was that answered the opening drive of the Steelers. Otherwise, it would have been 24-14. Tomorrow's headlines are brought to you by Levi's 505, 506, and 540G.
Really? There they are. The Raiders win the AFC West. The Dolphins topple the Colts, and the Falcons dim, fade, and the Cowboys hoax. How about that, huh?
The Cowboys did not play their best game today.
As a matter of fact, they stunk. And there's Joe Walton on your right, Bubby Brister on your left. Bubby saying, Coach, look, tell me anything.
Walton, of course, was your teacher?
My teacher.
A lot of other guys, people like Richard Todd, Norman Snead, people have always improved as quarterbacks being around Joe Walton.
And you know something, he was a head coach with the Jets for a long time, did a nice job there. It's interesting, he's the kind of a guy who's coached in the AFC East. Of course, the possibility of the New England Patriots looking for a new head coach. Be a kind of a guy who knows the personnel. One of the many assistants that I'm sure will be considered around the league for the vacant head coaching job.
Anderson set to kick off. Keep in mind, the Steelers have not tried an onside kick this year. Might be a little early for it right now. Anderson's trying to get the ball in the end zone, does not, and Houston will be able to take it at the 35-yard line on the out-of-bounds penalty. And we've got some more action on the field.
You know, nobody in the AFC likes anybody.
No.
I mean, you do an AFC Central game, you do an AFC Central game, you're going to have little fisticuffs and conversations and pushing and shoving. Not a lot of holding of hands.
Of course, not nearly as much since Jerry Glanville has gone to Atlanta. That removed some of the dynamite.
And it's also, I think, brought an entirely different personality to the Houston Oilers. The focus here in Houston for a long time was on their head coach. Now it's on the players. And I think that, in a way, hurt Greg Montgomery last year, for example. He's the best punter in the league, doesn't go to the Pro Bowl.
I think it hurt a lot of these players for individual lines. Pinkett is in at running back, and he'll get the carry. And about 8 yards. ESPN will kick off New Year's Day with College Game Day. Listen to Chris Fowler, Lee Corso, and Charlene Hawks. They'll preview all the bowl action at 10:30 in the morning. That's Eastern Time. And then 11:30 we'll have from Jacksonville, Florida, the Mazda Gator Bowl. Ole Miss against Michigan.
Alan Pinkett, the other back in the Houston offense, has not scored a touchdown this season. Fills in for Lorenzo White when he gets a bit tired. There's some tired guys right there.
Highsmith had 18 carries, 90 yards. Or rather, Lorenzo White. I was thinking of Highsmith because he and Rozier were here last year. They had the 4 backs. Let's go back in time a little bit. Alan Pinkett at age 11. Joe Theismann at, I'm not sure.
X age. Well, if he was 11, let me say, that would probably make me right around 26, 27.
Long time ago.
28. Nice hairdo, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Pinkett lives in Northern Virginia.
That came out of his locker.
Is that right?
He had it. It was probably something he was trying to get rid of.
7:07 to go in the game. Pinkett, nice cut. Midfield to the Steeler 49-yard line. A couple of more first downs, and you can back up the bus. This one will be over.
I'll tell you, that Steeler defense has got to be exhausted. The offense of the Houston Oilers has done anything and everything they've wanted to do. And I still believe when these people get on dry turf, the receivers are almost unstoppable. Look at that. The Steelers, unbelievable. That was their average for the year. 6 TDs for the season. Have given up 3 tonight. Of course, had 23 interceptions and only 1 this evening.
Number 1 against the pass, number 1 overall. Not tonight.
Dave Brazil, their defensive coordinator there, I'm sure, has not had it go like he expected it to.
2nd and 5. Pinkett gets a couple. He was really drilled by Greg Lloyd. The Steelers have, as you look at Joe Green, have literally owned the Houston Oilers in big games in the past. The AFC Championship in '79, the Steelers beat them 34-5. The AFC Championship in '80, they beat them 27-13. And last year in the AFC Wild Card game, the Steelers beat Houston 26-23. So this is really payback time for the Houston Oilers against the team they most like to beat. That's our story from the Astrodome. 6:03 left. Houston trying to make it into the playoffs as a wild card, leading 31-14, 3rd and 4 in Pittsburgh territory. Steelers may have jumped offside again. Flag is down. Carlson throws to Gibbons. He's close to a first down himself. Carnell Lake made the tackle. The Steelers were offside. That would be the 3rd time tonight that Cody Carlson pulled them off.
Offside, number 95 defense, 5 yards, first down.
There's a thing called a head bob. A quarterback, by the movement of his body
Which
or his
you were
head.
great at.
I was good at it, and I got penalized for it. Now, watch Cody here. Very subtle. Ready? Wow! See, he didn't move his head. He moved his entire body. That's something he's going to have to be a little bit more careful of in the next game, and if they continue the ones after that.
Chuck Noll really thought he had a fine club this year, and he has. The 9-6 coming into this game. The silliness of what is written and said about some coaches. Last year they said, well, the game's passed him by. How dumb.
But it keeps on coming back. That's
Yeah.
the funny thing about it for him.
First down, Oilers really ripping time off the clock, and Pinkett rips one up the middle to the Pittsburgh 33. Done a great job on the ground tonight out of the run and shoot. We've had Joe Kane and David Wyman with us from the Seahawks all night long, and guys, it doesn't look good. 5:17 to go. We want to thank you for being with us and congratulate you on a fine season. We know when you get all those other linebackers healthy, you'll be back next year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Joe Kane and David Wyman. And Chuck Knox still gets my vote for AFC Coach of the Year.
Mine
He did a
too.
great job.
Mine too.
Second and 1. Pinkett. Lloyd dove and hit him as he went forward to the line of scrimmage. Speaking of coaches, how about John Robinson? Really deserved getting the extended contract in Los Angeles. I think it would have been insane to let him go.
It really would have. I don't think you just can't judge. Right now, there's such demand on coaches to win immediately that people lose sight of the big picture. And the owners, take it, for example, Bud Adams bringing in Jack Pardee. He's got to be thrilled. Here's a guy who's done a great job. We talk about AFC Coach of the Year, Jack Pardee. And he only had to drive across the street from the University of Houston. But it's good that John had a tough year as a ball club did, but he'll be back to work his magic again.
Working down to 4 minutes left. And at this point, Houston is calling plays they otherwise wouldn't call. The Steelers are defying him to run, and they're running anyway.
Well, the thing, to me, Mike, one factor, the move of Bruce Matthews over to center, has changed the running ability of this Houston Oiler football team. And that's something that Cincinnati's going to have to deal with next week. Like I said, one of the major motivating factors for this Houston Oiler football team was the fact that they wanted to go back to Cincinnati and prove that what happened to them last week was a fluke, not something that you can expect all the time.
This drive, 33 yards, 7 plays. Each one has been an Alan Pinkett run. Make it 8 in a row. Boy, Lloyd gave him another shot as he got inside the 30.
Cody Carlson had a great night, but there's another guy standing on the sidelines, Warren Moon, who today, because of the quarterback rankings, and finished third, actually finished second. All he had to do was finish in the top 3, and he would have taken the average of the top 3 salaries and gotten the difference from his, which amounts to $1.2 million. And there's Felicia, and guess where she's going to go tomorrow? Shopping.
To the Galleria with a check for $1.2 million.
Oh, you don't have to be embarrassed. I think, Warren's thinking, $1.2 million bonus, and he deserves every penny of it.
Doesn't he ever? Pinkett again. possession to get a month's worth of work in this drive. We're down to 2:19 to go. And the Steelers will stop the clock. Bud Adams will come up with a $1.2 million as a bonus.
You know what I like about the fact? That bonus incentive is actually an incentive contract that if he did finish in the top 3, he got it. If he did, he wouldn't get it. I like that idea. I think that a lot of guys are out there and their agents are demanding money for guys that don't prove it. You know, give a guy a good, healthy base salary, but if he's as good as he says he is, and if he helps the football team and does what he says he can do, he deserves to be compensated for it more. And I think that's the situation you have here with Warren Moon and what the Oilers have done.
Moon just had an incredible season. If he had been able to play tonight, he would have had a shot at Fouts and Marino's records for a season.
Both Danny's got to feel like they dodged a bullet. But I'll tell you something. Remember, this was the first year that he learned how to run this offense.
Yeah.
Next year, when he knows what to do with it, could be incredible.
Garcia will try from 44 yards. A very strong leg for Teddy Garcia. And the Oilers raise the ante to 34-14. Sellout crowd here in Houston has loved every minute of it.
Now, there's been one very interested spectator. Dave, this is Joe Theismann. Is it time for that hat yet? I mean, you said you'd do something. You're going to keep it on for a little while and watch the end of this game and relax?
Oh, yeah, just a little bit longer, man, and I've got a surprise for you.
All right.
What about...
No harm now.
No. Have you started thinking about next week? Have you started thinking about next week?
Definitely thinking about it. I think it's time that the Bengals show people that we are a consistent football team, and we're going to show everybody that we can play with anybody in the league.
How about Cody Carlson? You guys are going to get stuck facing him.
I'll tell you one thing, the guy really played his behind off today, and my hand goes off to him. As you can see, it goes off, but when it goes off the next time, it'll be for good.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
I don't think David likes that hat a whole lot.
You know, that's got to be the most uncomfortable thing for him to wear for 3 hours.
Garcia belts another kickoff, and Woodson is going to bring it out. And even though he only got back to the 10, I think it's the only decision he could make. They need a 105-yard kickoff return. Leander Knight down to make the tackle. We have reached the 2-minute warning, and the Oilers have wrapped up a playoff spot at home. Thank you, Chris. 2 minutes to go in the game in Houston, leading Pittsburgh 34-14. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann and Gary Danielson with you from the Astrodome in Houston. And Chuck Knowles stoically on the sideline. He knows that Houston has been the better team tonight. Sure, he's disappointed. His team will finish 9-7 and not make the playoffs. One game away from winning the Central Division title.
Well, you have to look back at a season where your offense doesn't generate a touchdown in 7 football games. You know they're going to be a better offense next year and are more comfortable with it, and they'll have something to build on for sure.
Brisker guns this one out to Lips, completed to 20. Let's go back to Cincinnati. James Brooks and David Fulcher are there. What's going to happen to that hat, David?
Well, I tell you, I'm happy to be in the playoffs, and I got something for you.
A little, oh, you're kidding. A little fuel to the fire for next week. David, thank you. You and James, and good luck next week.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Oh, wait till the Oilers see that. They're going to love it. Well, they wanted to go back to Cincinnati. I mean, that was one of, like I said, it's one of the motivating factors. It was interesting. Bruce Matthews said his body clock, there's Doug Dawson and Cody Carlson did a great job. He said his body clock told him that the season wasn't going to be over. Players have the body clocks, and you know at the end of the year you say, oh, geez, we're going home. They felt that way last year. He says his body clock hasn't told him it's over yet.
Draw to Hodge, no dice. Brought down by Eric Fairs, number 51. enough for the first down, however. Steelers came in with the #1 defense in the National Football League. It's been shredded for 34 points. There's Green, who's cut down, this time by Leander Knight. Boy, Green is going to be a guy who's going to be a lot of fun to watch for years to come in this league.
He asked Joe Walton, the offensive coordinator, if he had any film on Mickey Schuler, because he said, I want to study in the offseason. I want to learn this offense because I want to be in the Pro Bowl next year. And he has all the tools to get there.
This time, Brister throws low. Take a look at the AFC and the playoff picture. The wild cards, Kansas City, as a wild card out of the AFC West, will go to Miami to play the Dolphins. And Houston, with the big win tonight, will get their wish. They'll return to Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The NFC wild card, the Redskins and the Eagles, they'll play at Philadelphia. The Eagles get the home field advantage out of it. And either Dallas or New Orleans, the Saints play tomorrow night. And it would sort of be a shame, I would think, for somebody 7-9 to get into the playoffs. That's not what they had in mind when they drew this up. Hill makes the catch. So the Saints could get in. If they win tomorrow night, they'd be 8-8. Otherwise, Dallas goes in at 7-9. Pittsburgh just playing out the string here. Green again. Well, he's a load. Crosses midfield. Brought down by Latham, who's had a pretty good game as the rookie. And Chuck Noll says, give me that last time out. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use without express written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. Well, we've got one more game left in our season, and couldn't think of a better place to do it in Honolulu for the Pro Bowl. And several of the guys you've seen play tonight will be there with us.
Yeah, and I get a chance to go back and join Chris and Tommy and Pete on game day for the next 4 weeks. We'll be down at the Super Bowl in Tampa and talking about the playoffs as they develop. And then, of course, as you mentioned, we get to see a bunch of these guys in warm, sunny Honolulu, Hawaii.
And I get to do some basketball in the next month. Coming up right after this telecast, Sports Center, Gary Miller and Dan Patrick, and then NFL Prime Time. And on Sports Center, we'll have a conversation with the Rocket. And everybody wondering if he will pass up his senior year at Notre Dame. A lot of speculation that he would be the #1 guy in the draft if he does.
I hope he stays in school.
I hope everybody does.
I do. I hope every kid that has a chance to not stay in school and gets their education first.
Brister throws complete. Lips goes out of bounds at the 30. Stops the clock with 9 seconds left. Brister 15 out of 24 for over 200 yards.
It's not, really Pittsburgh's offense tonight just hasn't had a chance to get on the field enough. I mean, they couldn't match Houston's offense as far as point for point goes. The last thing I'm sure that the Steeler coaches wanted was a track meet, and they got one. That proved one thing, that this offense is interchangeable with quarterbacks.
And it proves that the Oilers are very fortunate to have Cody Carlson behind Warren Moon. Brister had another one batted up in the air. That was Sean Jones. And he'll get another shot with 5 seconds to go. With Carlson playing quarterback and them going to Cincinnati after being beaten 40-20. What do you think of that one?
I think the key to the football game is if the field is dry. I still don't believe that the Houston Oilers receivers run very good patterns on wet AstroTurf. They don't practice on it. They practice indoors most of the time. If they practice on it, I think, and can stay on their feet, I don't think anybody can stop this offense. Cincinnati, I'm sure, feels other than that.
Out of bounds. And that's the game. Cody Carlson, 22 out of 29, 247 yards and 3 touchdowns. And one of the Oilers is down. Richard Johnson made the interception out of bounds.
Made that catch and slid right into the fences that are around the end of the end zone. He'll back up here and then just slide right into that post.
Let's go down to the sideline. Gary Danielson with Cody Carlson.
Like a dream. I know you were confident, but did you ever believe it would be like this?
No, I didn't. I figured it'd be a little rougher, especially in the earlier going. I figured that I'd be a little excited and overthrow a few, but I really thank the Lord that we were able to come out here and that He gave me the ability. And my teammates, man, they really picked up their play for me.
All right, great game, and you're confident, but in the NFL, you got to line up next week. You're the starter, Cincinnati.
That's right. At least we have it next week, so I'm happy about that. And it's going to be tough, and we just got to get our minds on that.
All right, great game.
Thanks very much, Gary. Appreciate it.
All right, Mike, Joe.
All right, thanks very much. And Cody Carlson, just a superb ball game tonight. He really helped carry this offense in the absence of the $1 million bonus baby, Warren Moon. We'll be back with more from the Astrodome in Houston, where the Oilers have been victorious, in just a moment.